Once again, we are live on this May 10th, 2021. It is the Live Drive Jive at 5. Live Drive Jive Archive, broadcasting live at 5:55. And some change. So Rudolf Steiner was discussing the mystic and various levels of the mystic. He said the first level of the mystic will relate to the people by way of personal experience. And this is the most accessible of the mystics. He gave some examples. I don't remember exactly who, but people can most relate to this type of mystic because he can relate to them via personal experiences. The next level of the mystic, he says, is the level of the heart chakra, I guess. The heart. And he says that level of the mystic is less accessible to the people, but they still are attracted to his teaching. And he relates to the people by way of heart experiences. And so I guess personal experiences or encounters in the daily world, and then heart experiences are those experiences which are based on emotions like compassion and sympathy and love and that type of thing, brotherly love, filial kindness, so on and so forth. And then the third type of mystic cannot relate to the people. He is the least accessible to the people. And it's because he tries to convey, he or she, the language is inherently limited when you discuss he, she, but he tries to express his understanding of that ultimate universal reality by way of the mind alone, and eradicates all. Did I just stall a second time? Are you serious? Shows you how into it I am. He says that the third type, the highest type, wants to convey his message through mental imagery alone and eradicates all personal interpretation, all personal experience, and also does away with all heart experience, all emotional entanglement. And he says people want to stay away from this type. That someone who relies entirely on the mind or utilizes entirely the mind to convey the ultimate reality is hated by the people and is the least accessible. So there's good reason for this, he says. It's because people in general, people in general, can only use pure mind power in small spurts. We cannot remain forever in the mental realm for any length of time, any long drawn out length of period of time. And those types of people who you see, we'll call them eggheads, the ones who stay in the mental realm for extended periods of time, they do develop this elongated egg-like head and become disconnected from ordinary people. Intelligentsia often do this. He says if you stay in the mental realm alone for extended periods of time, then you can't do anything in the ordinary world. You lose contact with it entirely, and you become a recluse and bound to a wheelchair. A guy like Stephen Hawking comes to mind. He's this entirely mind-centered type creature that, can just, I hate to do the Trump, but he just pushes himself around in an electric wheelchair and he can't take care of basic body functions, you know, shitting all over himself. He can't feed himself. It's a sad state. So the dichotomy of the intellectual battlefield is not good for you. And Steiner talks about how intellectualizing things to such a high level actually kills the human being. And that and we could see this in the real world. If the happiest and easiest going people with the best physical health are typically those who are engaged more sensuously, laborers, ordinary workaday fellows. They develop greater physical strength. They rely not exempt from intelligence, but they rely on it less and do more tangible work. So in the Path of Dao, there is the middle way. You don't go entirely to the left-hand path of intelligentsia and ultimate destruction of the human being, and you don't go entirely in the right-hand path of martial power and 100% physicality. You go up the center path, what Dingming Dao in his book The Scholar Warrior called the Path of the Scholar Warrior. In Chinese, in the original Chinese character, it's Wen Wu Chun Cai, or Wen Wu Chun Cai. Wen being Wenxue, literature, and Wu being martial, like a wushu, martial arts, and then Chun Cai is complete talent in both. So that's a very ancient path in the Chinese system, dating all the way back to before Qianlong. The Emperor Qianlong, though, he's the one credited with really instrumenting the idea of assiduous studies in the arts, and at the same time physical studies, agrarian pursuits, getting out in the field and digging the ditches and learning how to swing a sword, fire a bow, ride a horse. That's the ideal. You have to have a good combination of sports and academic studies. Otherwise, you just become an egghead. Steiner on the Waldorf schools is probably the most genius idea in education, but you just don't see it much in practice. I actually am teaching at an academy that in part tries to base itself. I just stalled a third time. Stop and go traffic in a stick shift. What are you gonna do? That's the most amount of times I've stalled a vehicle this year. My wife stalls all the time. I'm surprised our vehicle still even runs. But our school is a template of a Waldorf style school. We have grand piano, player pianos in all of the foyers of, is that a foyer or an atrium? I think it's an atrium, because it has skylights, so it's exposed to the sun. So there's player piano, there's a good music section. The kids during break time will come out and hit the ivories, ebony and ivory. And there's a couple of gardening sections where the young folks are supposed to learn the value of gardening and agriculture. There is a stables nearby. It's not on the school grounds, but there is quite a few people learning equestrian arts. It's not everyone, but there is a few. There was some domestic animals, goats, chickens, and stuff but they shut all that down during COVID, which I guess makes sense, you know. There's a really good art department with pottery classes and oil and acrylic painting and Chinese brush art, and there's a good instrumental section of Chinese instruments as well, classical Chinese instruments, as well as dance. There's a good dance studio in the school. So it's a well-rounded high school, and it includes I guess it's K through 12, so they have a kindergarten. Thank God I don't have to work there. I'd quit if they try to send me over there. I mean, I love working with little kids, but it's way too much work. I was talking to one of the kindergarten teachers though, and the kindergarten actually pays the best, and you only have to teach, like, officially I think one like classroom unit per day, but you need to spend the entire day with the kids, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon. And I don't mean to be selling the school, but if you are interested in a job and you would like to work in Beijing and be a part of my magical coven, come on over. I think kindergarten level with a bachelor's degree, you can make 80,000 US a year. So if that sounds, and you know, it includes medical, don't think it includes dental, but that includes housing, that includes your flight tickets. I mean, I'm not trying to sell the school, but anyone who maybe watches my channel and thinks, oh hell, I've got a bachelor's degree, you know, I could go do a year of English teaching, which would actually be 9 months of school, 9 months of school, 3 months of vacation that you're still getting paid for. Give it a shot. Come on over here. Work at a pseudo Waldorf school with the famed, infamous Frank Monday. So that's it. I'm about back to the yard. I will sign off by saying, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, let us pray. Creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of the light and of the darkness, we adore thee and we invoke thee. Make us humble recipients of thine divine light on earth, and may our physical bodies and minds be a workshop of the subtle origin. We invoke the 4 archangels, Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, and Roriel, to stand guard at the 4 quarters above the pre-heaven octahedron, great cosmic mother, endlessly generating dark energy that brings into manifestation all creatures of light. Below us, the squared tetragrammaton, or secret name of God, the Grand Architect, stabilizing and giving us foundation. O great God of goodness and of evil, as above, so below. I will see you all good looking, sexy motherfucker. I'm gonna just jump through that camera, kiss you on the mouth, big old Frank Monday tongue kiss with the mustache. I love y'all good looking, happy people. I will talk to you next time. Goodbye for now.